I can't see you now,
You can't
but I
see
can
me?
see myself.
I
No.
can
Can
see
you
you
see me?
though.
Okay, well, we can chat.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can.
Okay.
What a miracle.
It is a miracle.
Oh, patience is a vital life tool, and also determination.
That's so funny you say that because that's exactly what I just said about patience being a vital life tool. So there you go.
I,
We're
I,
connected in the
I
ether.
heard that part.
Or did you hear me say that? Oh,
I heard you.
okay.
Yes.
Although I do
Yeah.
know we are connected that way too.
We are connected. So yes, patience and determination and resilience, and honestly, like learning how to deal with frustration and keep going.
It's so true, and it feels like there's much opportunity for that right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, they're good. I can hear you better now.
Oh,
Um,
good.
yeah, sorry for the delay there. I had to take care of my elder cat this morning unexpectedly. She's not doing so well. So
Oh,
yeah,
sorry to hear that.
yeah, she's elderly, so I was giving her some remedies and putting it in her water, which is unique because homeopathy, can treat animals the same way it treats humans. So just giving
Beautiful.
her some life support there, and she's,
Oh,
stiff. She's stiff and achy, and yeah, so
I love what you just said there, life support.
yeah.
Because we often relate to life support as something someone is put on when they're dying in the hospital. And what a beautiful reframe of those words, life support, because homeopathy supports life.
Yeah,
It's about,
it definitely um, adds to the vital force, generating more natural uh, energy and health. Yeah. So, just supporting her vitality. And um, it's amazing because cat animals are quite drawn to it. It's profound sometimes to see how those frequencies they're so aware of, whereas humans can be so resistant. It's okay.
absolutely.
We're just beautiful where we're at. And
Well, we have a lot of ideas, don't we?
yeah, exactly.
How things should be. And I know I heard once that, if someone's getting a healing treatment or something, that when they fall asleep, it's actually can be a really good thing because the conscious mind gets out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, different brain waves, right? When we go into sleep, REMs, we're in different brain waves. And
Mm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to going to the float house tomorrow. I booked my floats, so
Oh.
I'll be definitely riding those different brain waves into yeah, because the whole point about the float tank is the sensory deprivation, right? And when your brain is not processing all of that sensory input, it can go into astral travel or into the subconscious mind or into, into more healing, rejuvenating um, abilities rather than putting all that energy into to processing the senses. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of brainwaves,
That is so cool. I'd love to go
yeah,
with you
you
sometime.
should. It's not far from here, and it's really beautiful. They make it a very beautiful experience. So yeah, we should road trip. Road trip.
I sense a road trip.
I sense the road
Yeah,
trip.
sense a road trip coming on.
How's your world
Oh my
over there?
goodness. Good. It's kind of springtime busy. Like, I just had a call with my daughter's teacher, just wrapping up the end of the school year, and um, yeah, it's that kind of energy, and it's very. I'm finding it really super busy because I love being in my garden, and this time of year just requires a lot of work. to get everything prepared, at least the way I do it. This is the time to do tons of work. And so I've spent quite a few days weeding.
Yeah.
And I've been really seeing that as a real metaphor. Like I've been really dropping into it as an opportunity to practice presence. And I'm finding it just really, really nourishing, spending this time weeding. I've been pulling up buttercups, and they put it out these like networks of roots that are just kind of have everything just all kind of locked up, and it's like setting everything free for another cycle. So that's how I'm feeling about it right now. I've been really enjoying presence of digging up weeds right
Yeah,
now.
that's beautiful.
Yeah,
It really is an
of
act.
course. Yeah, and weeds are just, a flower that you don't want. So they also, there's all kinds of medicinal properties to all these so-called weeds too.
Yeah, I'm just looking down right in front of me. There's some dandelion weed. I'm gonna eat that.
Oh, I learned some really interesting things about dandelions lately. So that they send down a really deep taproot
Mm,
to bring calcium up. So dandelions are a really good indicator of what's going on with the soil, that the soil needs more calcium. And if you dig up a dandelion, to actually lay it down where it was, because as it decomposes, it's going to give that calcium to the soil that it needs. So
interesting. Very interesting. I didn't
yeah,
know
I really
that.
like the reframe on weeds of what they're giving. The plants that show up are giving us information.
Same as symptoms, right? Like same as symptoms in the body. Like it shows up and it's opportunity to meet them and respond in a beautiful way. Without the symptoms, we would really have no indicators around what's needed. That's so cool.
Hmm,
Again,
that's brilliant.
again, we're such a reflection of nature and our ecosystem. The mirroring is profound. That's so cool
Hmm.
though. I didn't know that about calcium. Uh-huh.
Isn't
Yeah.
that interesting? I love, for me too, I ended up with a whole bunch of, what was it? Is it St. John's wort? That's the one that helps with depression.
Yes.
Is that the
Yeah.
one? And I had St. John's wort show up in my garden, like lots of it last year. And
Oh,
I I decided to take that as a message. So I gathered the flowers and I made an oil. And when you make an oil, maybe also a tincture, but it definitely when you make an oil with St. John's wort, it turns this incredibly deep red color. It's so beautiful. And yeah, continuous use of St. John's wort is supposed to be really good for your mood and to lift your mood. So I thought, oh, this is a medicine we're going to need through
absolutely.
the winter. So I better harvest it and tend to it. So I find that the natural world is just tends to show us what we need.
Yeah, St. John's wort is the Latin term of it is Hypericum, which is a very common, when you dilute it, it's a very commonly used remedy. And it's not only just for mood balancing, like you said, but it's the number one remedy to use if you get any kind of laceration or injury to your fingertips, your toes, or your tailbone, or even your tongue. So if any kind of like crushing accident happens to your fingers, which we know kids get their fingers slammed in the doors, or often
Mhm.
toes crushed, things dropped on them, using Hypericum. But the real number one beauty of Hypericum, I find, is with cuts from knives to your fingers. So if you're like cooking in the
Oh,
kitchen or your man is on the job and something slices the finger, Hypericum is amazing. It'll heal the wound very quickly. It'll also reestablish the nerve connections because Hypericum is a
gosh.
very much a nerve tonic. So any kind of nerve pain is great to start with Hypericum. And Hypericum is also a natural tetanus. So it's important to know that as well if you get sliced or cut by something that could be compromised. I'm spitting dandelion out on myself. There you go. But yeah, yeah, I really love it.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's just, again, and all, you, like you said, you take the actual plant, you create a mother tincture, and then from the mother tincture it starts to get diluted, and the dilution process can go on millions of times, and it still has the ability to heal. It still has that ability to commune with the body's innate mechanism, regulatory mechanism, that life force, the vital force, which is also immaterial. The two, they really, it's profound how the body responds to the immaterial aspect of the substance, whether it's a plant, a mineral, or even coming from the animal kingdom. Often you hear of people out there taking bees and stinging themselves purposely for the bee venom to deal with arthritis. Yeah. You actually don't need to do that. You can just take bees. From one bee, millions of people can get supported with their arthritis. You don't have to go through the stinging and the bee murdering. Anyway.
Right, amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to just say too that what you just shared is that it's actually really helpful for me and my family, because my husband had dental surgery that did some nerve damage in his face. And so now that I know that about Hypericum, I'm going to give it to him to rub on his face to help with the nerve restoration. Yeah. And so perfectly timely. Thank you for that. And also there's a question here from Gail. Gail's joining us on the call today, and she asks, what does St. John's wort smell like?
Oh,
yeah.
So you had described the actual plant that came up in your yard and how it looked, what it smelled like.
Well, it was, I started pulling it before I realized what it was, because it looked a lot like Scotch broom. It has very small little leaves. So it's not there's a St. John's wort that's sort of like one that is a kind of a ground cover that has very big yellow flowers. And this one is the one that's actually quite tall. It grows up to like, I don't know, maybe getting close to a meter tall, but not quite, with little yellow flowers on it. And I don't actually find that it was very strongly scented. So it's almost like, I think it's maybe a 5-petal yellow flower. I can't remember off the top of my head. And clusters. So there will be a flower head with several little yellow flower clusters on it.
That makes me think of a neurosynapse, like the synapses of the neural pathways. But
right.
I'll post some pictures of the Hypericum and then also the Materia Medica, because plants have so many different families, right? And then so many extensions from those families. So I'm interested, to know what family you might have been growing, or what might be more like a local weed or weed plant, and then also like which one the Materia Medica remedies are actually made from. But I don't think that matters too much. Like, I think, the properties of the plant family would generally be the same. So still go ahead and, apply it on his face.
I know with that one, there is some controversy around it. I definitely have been on chats online before where people have been talking about whether the ground cover St. John's wort is the same as the wild one. And I know that some people have said that that one's not to be used. The one with the very large yellow flower versus the very small one. So the small one is maybe maximum the size of my thumbnail. Like, they're little yellow flowers.
Yeah, I'm not surprised there's controversy. Yeah.
Yes, well, I think the one that's the ground cover is sort of like one that's been hybridized over time for a different, like more of a garden purpose versus the wild plant. And sometimes it's important to pay attention. I know that there's
Yeah.
certain plants that can be, you know, plants like foxglove, for example, that can be used homeopathically that definitely should not be used in the
Oh,
wild. So,
yeah. Yeah. Like
yeah.
if you take the crude substance, it can be very toxic, right? Like there's even
Yeah.
snake venoms in the materia medica, right? You definitely don't want to be ingesting like, you know, the crude snake venom. But
Uh,
yeah, so you know, it is
absolutely.
important to know your plants, of course, before you start, you know, reckoning with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could retain all the, you know, the Latin names and I like botany, you know, I wish I, you know, but maybe in my next life. For now, I rely so much on the materia medica and from the past experiences of other people. So yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mhm.
But it would be so cool to be like, oh, bing, 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 bing. Like, I've never been one
Yeah.
really good at instant recall. So anyway,
The one thing I would love to get really good at is mushroom identification.
yeah.
That's something I know nothing about, and I would love to be a mushroom forager. But because I don't know anything about it, I'm not going out and eating wild mushrooms.
I went to Calgary recently to visit my son, and my younger son and I, we went to see one of those 360-degree movies, like in the dome, and
Oh yeah.
it was on mushrooms, and they are amazing, as you know, and they're scientists are like testing to see if mushrooms can decompose plastic, and they're actually seeing that there's some mushroom species that are breaking down microplastics. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, just came to mind. How are you composting? Because compost is obviously a vital life tool. Do
Oh,
you compost? Do you compost
composting.
and create your own soil? You must, because or you could. I don't know.
Yes,
It's not a judgment. I'm
yes.
just asking. Yeah.
I'm not, but I'm not as good as it yet as I would like to be. So I do have like a large compost pile that where I've got like branches and stuff like that that's in a different area of my garden. It's interesting that you asked that because there's a farm here on the island that's doing a workshop in living soil and something called bokashi. So like microorganisms that you can add to your soil to assist with decomposition and composting. So with gardening, I remember hearing when I first started a story about somebody who asked a farmer, what should I grow in my garden? And the farmer answered, the soil. And they kind of laughed and said, well, yes, but you know, like what should I be growing? And he said, the soil. He repeated that several
Nice.
times. So that is actually something that gets overlooked with industrial agriculture. And in small scale growing, it actually is the primary focus of what we are doing. So again, kind of like the body's ecosystem, our foundation of soil, what we are doing with our foundations is actually of primary importance. And something else I learned about is what is it called, lasagna
Yeah.
gardening, where you don't, it's not about plowing or tilling the ground. It's about having respect for the microorganisms and the microclimate and everything that is going on there that is active and living, and not going in and disturbing everything, but actually showing respect for it and layering elements that can decompose to feed the soil. So compost in the soil is actually one of my primary focuses that I do care a lot about.
Yeah, well, and you spoke to dandelion, layering the dandelion in the compost
Yeah.
over the winter, layering, layering leaves, mushrooms, also worms. Yeah, and the micro, like it's just fascinating, really. It's really just so cool.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
that plants, even if there's toxins in the soil, plants have the intelligence to take only what they need. I mean, I don't know how 100% that is, because obviously, like, I'm not a scientist that's tested it myself. But again, like, I do trust that the intelligence of the plant is going to draw what's in the soil, what they need. But if say like the calcium isn't there, then, that's that. But yeah, so I don't know. I just think we don't need to be so afraid of toxins in the soil, but obviously Roundup and things like that do have an influence. So anyway, I just always trust in the intelligence of the human body and, nature and the plants. I just, I don't even need to be a scientist, I just trust that innate intelligence, because like I'm a living proof of it, right? Like I'm a human. Yeah. So, and I'm sitting with like all of this intelligence around me, and how could I question it?
Like that beautiful bird that's doing sound healing with you.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
can hear this gorgeous bird. Oh my
and my
gosh.
cat is running around me in the yard. It's so cute. I
Oh.
just thought I would come here. This is my thinking place. It's a big antenna in my yard that I'm really grateful for, so sitting with it. And I really enjoy, those middle realms, and we access it through those different brain waves and through our HeartMath practice. And, and so like a symbol of that for me is really when the tree goes into the ground, that transition from being above ground to below ground. I just always sit with it and contemplate my own medial nature sometimes with that.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, because I see the tree like here. Oh, I don't know if I can turn the camera around right now, but I see the tree in front of me, but I don't see what's below the ground, although I know it's there. So I just, it's between the worlds of the seen and the unseen.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And that too applies to plant harvesting as well. If we're working with plants and herbal medicines, we do learn about how, if what you're wanting to harvest is a flower, you want to harvest it at the peak of when the plant's energy is in the flower. And if you want to harvest a root, you're going to want to do that in the spring or the fall when the plant is putting its energy down into the roots instead of above ground into foliage production. So I think that a lot of these medicines and what we're talking about is, it has a lot to do with being in nature and observing what's happening in the world around us. And something else I wanted to add too is that I heard a story, and this goes back to the Ringing Cedars books, where they said that if you put a seed in your mouth before you plant it, then that plant will grow what your body needs to be well. So we're interacting with the world around us as well. And so the plants grow what we need in order to be well.
Yeah, there's that intelligence. Gosh, I love that. There's no doubt that we're surrounded by magic, and
Yes.
to tap into that, um, is
To
definitely
be.
a life tool for me, you know? Yeah.
Learning to listen to the earth and the natural world around us is definitely a vital life tool because it's always feeding us, like you say, there's this intelligence. Well, the intelligence is also feeding us back information that is useful for us if we just stop and listen and pay attention. Mhm. So I'm inside today, so I'm kind of counting on you for the outside sounds because I was doing all this technology stuff and
I know.
just felt safe to be indoors.
Thanks for
So,
trying that. I don't even really know how we got it to work in the end, but
well, you made it work, so that's good. You had to be the conductor here. So I'm just wondering if you maybe want to lead us in a little coherence meditation. And I feel like what you talked about, sitting on the earth between where the tree is above the ground and the tree is below the ground. And you're also outside and I'm inside. So I'm feeling like we're in that bridging space. So, oh, and I just had a doggy come in to say hello. Hi, Charlie.
Charlie, you have a different dog there?
Yes, we have our visitor dog here. And that's come to visit too. So the dogs are coming to join. They want to be part of the meditation too. So,
That's perfect.
but yeah, I'm feeling this bridging energy just from what you're saying.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can absolutely just drop in. And, you know, I learned so much from many people and from nature and from my vital life experiences. So what Dr. Robbie says is coming to mind again, to remember that, you know, my voice is your guide. And I really appreciate when he says that, because
Mm-hmm.
then I don't attach to the words and then decide whether they're valid for me or not. Sorry, I am having like a bit of some messages going on, some biofeedback going on in my sinuses. But you know, he's very wise in teaching us to know that the voice is a guide. So my goal is to have my voice in a tone and be in the field enough, in the frequency, that you can commune with that frequency in any way that suits you. It's not necessarily about the words when he leads with that. So I am going to lead with that myself right now, and act as a bridge, hopefully, for us and anyone listening right now, to just access that medial place within themselves, you know, because they're obviously physical bodies above ground, but there's so much above and below all around at the same time. So let's just do that together, just finding comfortable spots. If you're listening and you're on the move, that's okay. Just keep your eyes open and be aware of your safety. But let's just start by focusing in the area of the heart. And again, we do this because the heart is really the center point in the field. Like, this ring is so interesting to me because it has the gemstone in the middle, and from that the field comes out, right? And so we want to just focus in the area of the heart because of the power it can generate for us. And just start breathing through a comfortable, through your nose, out your mouth, whatever is the most comfortable rhythm for you. And if it is helpful, you can count in and out so that it's an equal pace. And right away, you can just start to feel your body relax. And if there's any pain or thoughts that are persistent, just acknowledge it, welcome it. It's there for your feedback, for your growth. Even if it's uncomfortable, you can be with it in this container knowing that you're safe. And remember, my voice is just your guide. And as we drop into the heart space, we're going to activate rejuvenating feelings. So conjure a feeling in your body that's connected to joy, gratitude, love, the love of gardening, and the feeling of your hands in the soil. The feeling of sitting at the base of a tree and feeling the wind blowing all around you. Activate the feeling and then let your imagination bring the images. If there's struggle, it does help to smile and soften the face. Just conjure and activate that rejuvenating feeling. Allowing yourself to be physical in this physical realm, in this seen realm, as well as moving into the unseen. Into your energy body. That really has no limits. Keeping with the rejuvenating feelings, you can send this rejuvenation through your energy body to your loved ones, wherever they are. Your imagination will take you there. If your eyes are open, allow them to be seeing the unseen as you're breathing this rejuvenation through your body. Observe with your eyes open any signs or symbols or memories that come up. knowing that the feedback is available to us at all times. I'm connecting with the soil and the microorganisms and the little insects that are below me, thanking them for their work. And sending frequencies to your soil, Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And up gusts the wind again. Spend as much time here as you wish, as you need. Just to be sure your body chemistry is in training to this rejuvenation that you're activating. The more you practice this, the more it will come on demand and will provide resilience in the moment when you're in challenging situations. And a reminder and invitation that from this place you can also ask for heart guidance. Just calling you back now to this moment. If you don't want to come back, that's fine. Calling you back to this moment, to your body. I think my cat needs some Hypericum after that meditation, so I'm going to look into that. She did have a neck injury at one point, and her head got caught between the door and the door frame. So anyhow, that's when I asked for guidance. That's what showed up. So I'm going to be curious about that.
Perfect. I got a message too. What the heck was it now? I don't even remember. It's kind of fleeting. Yeah.
It'll be there for you. And sometimes we don't
Yeah.
get messages, or sometimes there isn't an answer available, but you can ask for voicemail, so to speak, so that you'll be able to listen. It'll be there for you in one way or another.
Mm-hmm. It felt like it was very resonant. But no, I think I went pretty deep there. So I'm sure it'll pop back in later when it's the right time.
I know it's kind of quick to do it here together. Sometimes that's why, yeah, I'm hoping that people practice at their own pace as well.
Yeah, it's nice though. I kind of appreciate the quick drop-ins because sometimes it's good to practice doing fast, deep meditation like that instead of feeling like you have to drop in for an hour. You know, our lives tend to be rather fast-paced, so it's nice to have access to something to come into coherence in this way, just in this simple little drop-in like
Yeah,
this.
I agree. And again, the benefit of these quick drop-ins, as you say, is so
Mm-hmm.
that when we are in the world interfacing with other people or, life that can challenge us, then we know we can drop in that instant and access that resilience. I mean, really, that is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need it on the go, not feeling like we have to exit life in order to have access to this, but to be able to access it with life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the gift of this. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's
It
really
really is.
the long practice is the resilience building, and the quick practice is, you know, banking on that and benefiting from it. So it is both.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed our time together
As
today. Thank
usual.
you. We tried something totally new, and you made it work. Thank you.
Thank you too for understanding, and yeah, and for everyone. I hope your day is lovely and nourishing and supportive, and yeah,
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you, my friend, in the real life, in the real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon, and have a wonderful float. And happy Mother's Day to
Oh,
everyone who's
yes.
celebrating. And wherever you are on the mother spectrum, we all get to celebrate our beautiful Mother Earth to remember our great mother that we all come from.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, much love to you.
And when we
Yeah.
get to constellate together, we'll talk about that as a vital life tool.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
We'll do that. We
Okay.
will do our constellation that's coming. Okay, I love
Love
you.
you too. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.